Okay, we're going to do this all at once this time, guys. Here we go. So we're now, we've had the park rangers come out and tell us that they found a body, waiting for confirmation. I can't go at this as if I don't know what's occurred, but I'm going to try to. The first thing that really bothered me is she didn't want to be without him that night, even with all the issues, the threat of jail, the threat of charges, the threat of, I've told you not to be with him if you can't be together. It could create other issues. She still could not compost that. And that's the immaturity again that I'm seeing in both parties. Immaturity. And that toxic, I must be with him, codependent ladies.
This is a very, very important question.
Okay.
How you answer this question is going to determine what happens.
Try to look at this as if the roles were reversed.
The only person who can answer this question is you. Think very hard before you answer the question. Do not quickly answer. Think very hard. When you slapped
This is important.
those times, were you attempting to cause him physical pain or physical impairment? Was that what you were attempting to do? What were you attempting
So most
to do?
people never get to answer that
What was
question.
the reason behind the slap?
The cops make that discernment, and they write the report. And the prosecuting state's attorney takes it up.
It doesn't sound to me like she attempted it.
And getting attention, I was wanting him to tell me to stop,
100% your call.
trying to calm down. Is
I'll let you get back to
is that logical? When I want people to tell me to stop calming down, do I strike them? So could potentially this bias have screwed everything up? That she's 110, I'm blonde, blue-eyed. Oh, she couldn't have hurt him. She wasn't causing him harm. What if the roles were reversed? Men don't get that kind of flex, do they? And they know she's admitted to physical violence, and they're struggling because they know she's admitted to physical violence. So they're struggling to make this decision. What if they'd never been called? Would they have wrecked? Would they have had an altercation and a wreck and possibly harmed themselves or someone else? Or killed other people, potentially? What if a man said, I was just trying to distract her? Again, you've got to be neutral. If you can justify placing your hands on somebody to distract them or to make them telling you to stop calming down, you need to calm down, stop telling me that, and you justify putting your hands on them, I think she should have been at least cited. But if they took her to jail, could it have potentially saved her life? Would this whole story have had a different ending? That sounds really ominous now, doesn't it? She is a threat. They're a threat to each other if they've already crossed the lines and started physical violence. Emotionally, they're not working out. Listen.
This is your opportunity to make the decision.
So that bothered me. So he made his story and said, I'm okay doing this, but it makes sense to do that. Well, if it made sense to file a domestic, you should have filed a domestic. Because now you have to turn around and live with this decision. And it's going to haunt these officers. I guarantee it's going to haunt them. Who have been stupendous up to now. They've been great. See, they're still struggling. They're still struggling because she openly admitted. They know. They know if the roles were reversed, they would have taken the man to jail. They're struggling internally. See, distraction would have never been given as a defense to a male. And I'm not trying to throw shade on poor Gabby. I'm just saying inappropriate behavior is inappropriate behavior.
Bodily injury, the definition says, bodily injury is infliction of pain or physical impairment or illness.
And
So you can go.
that's sad now. Now that we know that's.
I'm recording, and society and the judges and everyone can judge me for this. I am looking at a 110-pound female and her fiance.
Worst decision possible. Again, those factors shouldn't have played a role. It was a full-on domestic with physical violence.
I don't care if we use the actual letter of the law to
This is how I
not
feel.
charge. But I also don't care because it literally does possibly make perfect sense to go
And
full on domestic assault and do the whole thing.
I'm sad because
This
these
is,
officers
your
did so
opportunity
great
to make the decision. Let's
up to now. But they should have just gone ahead and, filed that domestic. We couldn't have used our discernment if it had been a 250-pound man with blue eyes that wasn't malicious. He just wanted to stop telling him to calm down. Stop telling me to calm down, so I'm going to hit you. Would that have been tolerated? Probably not. I see this as just a bias that went too far, a flex that because of size and how he viewed her as a threat, he didn't see the potential emotional threat. Now watch this.
Yeah. I was thinking it was in cards right there.
He's doing that creepy jerky movement and overly compliant, let me be your best friend Mr. Roger guy again.
This is still your mailing address, right?
He just seems nervous and disjointed and overly compliant and too eager to please, and it creeps me out. It would make me want to search the vehicle like he's hiding something. And yeah, I thought he didn't have a phone.
Oh yeah, no problem.
And now we're just waving bye-bye to the officer. We're the choir boy, Eagle Scout, overly compliant best friend. It doesn't sit well with me. I feel like his role has been played by two separate people in this event. I feel like I've seen two separate people. The overly compliant choir boy, and then the little boy that's wringing his hands and is absolutely terrified something went wrong. And that bothers me, because they're polar opposites of what you normally see, and that, it freaks me out. I honestly think there's something going on upstairs with him, and that he's struggling a lot more than it shows to me, probably 10 times more. Yeah, I'm back to wigging out on him, guys. The switch back and forth is getting to me. He's done it too many times. Again, they're completely compassionate, somewhat overly compassionate. They're allowing size and stature and behavior to overwhelm them. But look, here we go again. We're going to lose it again. Oh no, it's bubbling up. She's struggling, guys. She's struggling. She's really up, holding it back, trying to keep it from coming out. And there we go. Is this not exhausting? Could you do this every day? Would you want to do this every day? How often is she doing this? This girl has got to be exhausted. She's depleted herself. What is going on that she's so hyper emotional and all over the place and can't find a stable emotional foundation to stand on? There you go. See, inconsistent emotional reaction and behavior. He nailed it, but he didn't apply it. He still gave her discernment. Now, I would have felt relieved. She's acting though he just told her the worst news in the world. So, watch this. Here come the rules.
I want you guys to stay away from each other. For both of you guys to see. From what you told me and what he told me, you guys have a bunch of little things that are building up.
Now, he gave good rules. He stressed these rules. He was very serious that he did not want contact.
So, I just want everybody to breathe, get a chance away from each other.
See her breathe on command there? That bothered me too. And guys, I'm trying to not apply the knowledge I have, but it's difficult. Because I keep thinking a night in jail, if they applied that misdemeanor, yeah, a night in jail, but could it have stopped, if he's the killer, could it have stopped all of this? I don't see how he isn't the killer, because she left in the van, but he came back to Florida in it, but she's nowhere to be found, which means they had to be together again. And he had to have known she was missing because he drove the van back by himself. So now I'm thinking, yeah, my first wigged out view of him was probably very correct. He gave me the heebie-jeebies, and always go with your gut, ladies. Just always go with your gut. The second behavior of the choir boy was a throw-off. Now watch this. Watch his hands. Oh, they're going to start talking about serious things again. I've got to show that I'm scared. I'm meek. I'm scared. Don't scare me. I'm a sweet little boy. Again, we're switching personalities here. We're switching profiles, behavior, everything. His whole demeanor and the way he carries his body and stature and everything changes. Freaks me out. Now, most people probably wouldn't pay that much attention, but because I've been around some very dangerous people, I pay attention to these things. It's inconsistent and often shows mental or emotional issues. Really, like, I'm concerned for him and what he may be capable of still doing to himself or someone else at this point. He's stressed out. He's missing. He's in a pickle. And whether he is responsible for this or not, he's in a place where mentally, emotionally, he's going to make bad decisions, and that scares me. They don't build, these pattern behaviors they have to cope with, the outburst, and when she's panting and controlling her breathing and doing the self-soothing and trying to calm herself down. You only know how to do that if you've done it a lot, and you only do it a lot if you have behavioral cycles. And here he goes back to the oversimplification. Can you make me a checklist? He's the little kid that needs help, but there's that inconsistent laughter. So he's switching more quickly now, and I'm seeing glimpses of both sides. But he's stressed. But he's still switching profiles for me, back and forth rapidly now, and it bothers me. But now, as far as behavior in the event, he did nothing to earn their skepticism. He was the victim in this specific altercation, in this specific incident. See how easily it is to hide things? And it all started with dirty feet in sand, people. We've got to learn to communicate, and we've got to learn to keep our emotions in check. We've got to learn how to have a dialogue, but he's still stressed. So he just got the biggest relief of his entire adult life, and he's still stressed. But here we go. Watch this. Yes, I'm compliant, sir. I will follow you to the end of the world. And he is portraying who you want him to be.